This is All India Radio. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on Prime Minister's Man Ki Baat. The participants are Ashok Tandon, political analyst, and Ashwini Srivastav, journalist.
It was Prime Minister Narendra Modi's first Man Ki Baat in the new year. He touched upon different issues in it, like merging of Amar Jawan Jyoti with the Eternal Flame at National War Memorial, Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Bal Puraskar, Padma Awards to unsung heroes, corruption, death of a tigress Kollarwali in Madhya Pradesh, one on rhinos in Assam, popularity of Indian culture abroad, and AstroTurf football stadium in Ladakh. Emphasizing on the issue of graft, he also termed it as a termite that hollows the country. First, Ashok ji, please elaborate for our audience on the message that our Prime Minister wished to spread by asking people to visit National War Memorial along with family and also on Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
This was first Man Ki Baat of the new year, and the Prime Minister very rightly said that we will once again take forward discussions which are related to the positive inspirations and collective efforts of our country and our countrymen. So that is always the theme of Prime Minister's Man Ki Baat. It has been an interactive session. It's virtually a dialogue with the people. And then he invokes his personal experiences vis-a-vis people who write to him, who approach him, even make suggestions with regard to Man Ki Baat episode. So, in effect, it certainly has always been a very positive discussion, a dialogue with the people, and one very significant feature which I have observed all these years is that it has always been devoid of politics. There have been no contentious issues which Prime Minister ever mentioned in his Man Ki Baat, and very rightly today he reminded the nation that today's Man Ki Baat is happening on the death anniversary of our Bapu, Mahatma Gandhi, father of the nation, and need not to remind the people that his teachings always, because I have observed that the Prime Minister has never missed mentioning the teachings and the messages of Mahatma Gandhi in all his Man Ki Baat episodes. And today, since it happened to be the death anniversary, the obvious reference was to the Martyrs' Day, which the nation observes every year. And then you talked about the War Memorial and Amar Jawan Jyoti. But if you see the sequence of events which the Prime Minister mentioned in Man Ki Baat, was the obvious and very important mention the way we celebrated Republic Day this year. And apart from the display of nation's valor and strength, a very new feature of Man Ki Baat this year, as you very rightly said, was merger of Amar Jawan Jyoti near India Gate with the National War Memorial Amar Jawan. And he specifically mentioned this particular event because he said in the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav year, we are re-establishing the national symbols through these efforts. And one of the efforts, of course, as we said, was the merger of Amar Jawan Jyoti near India Gate with the Jyoti lit at the National War Memorial and in the same vicinity. And he specifically mentioned that the National War Memorial, the names of all the brave hearts of the country who have been martyred since independence have been inscribed. And then he said some of former soldiers of the army have written to him personally, saying that the Amar Jawan Jyoti lit at the memorial is a symbol of the immortality of our martyrs. So he in fact urged upon the people that every Indian must visit the War Memorial at near India Gate and whenever they get an opportunity, and they should also take their children, because then they can feel a different kind of energy and inspiration. So that was the context in which the Amar Jawan Jyoti mention was made in the Man Ki Baat today.
And he also said that now the Republic Day celebration will begin from January 23rd, that is the birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, and continue till January 30th, which is Mahatma Gandhi's death anniversary, that is today. PM also talked about Padma Awards given to unsung heroes of our country, who have done extraordinary deeds in ordinary circumstances. He specifically mentioned one or two, For example, he talked about Basanti Devi of Uttarakhand, who has been honored with Padma Shri. And he said that she lived her whole life in the midst of struggles. Her husband died at an early age and she had started living in an ashram. So he talked about few people. How do you see this government's practice of awarding unsung heroes? I mean, people who are not big name, but really contributing for the society in a big way.
He also mentioned that Padma Awards are not the only awards which are given during the Republic Day celebrations. As you very rightly said, now the celebrations will be from 23rd of January, the birth anniversary of Netaji, till 30th of January, the death anniversary of Bapu. And in that context, he also mentioned the awards which are Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Bal Puraskar. These awards are equally important and significant because these are given to children who have rendered courageous and inspirational work at a very, very young age. And that is why he said that these awards particularly and the work done by recipients must be highlighted in each and every house of Indians, because our children will get inspiration from this and the enthusiasm to bring glory to the country and the awakening also. So coming back to what you said about the Padma Awards, this obviously is an annual feature. These are the highest civilian awards which the country has been honoring with to all the people who have made contribution. But one significant departure which at least I have noticed over the couple of years since Mr. Modi took over as the Prime Minister is that large chunk of these Padma Awards are going to unsung heroes. People who are very little known and they are being picked up. They are from different walks of life and they are not simply heroes who have done exceptional work in any particular field. Like you mentioned about the Basanti Devi of Uttarakhand. Whole life has been dedicated. And similarly, and this particular lady has worked very hard in environment and saving the rivers, etc. And similarly, if you go on the entire list of people have been mentioned, the Prime Minister very rightly said that the innovations made by people in agriculture, and then he mentioned person who has done quite a lot of work in tribal areas of Madhya Pradesh, Manipur, go on and on. The Prime Minister, the list of persons whom he mentions in his Man Ki Baat episode is quite widespread. It encompasses the entire country, south of India, northeast, the hill areas, tribal belt and all that. So therefore, his approach and he's reaching out to the people is to the very diverse population of this country. That also has been a very significant feature. And he has received 1 crore postcards have come from different parts of the country. They have also come from abroad. And he said that he tries to read all these postcards, etc. And then he mentioned some of the postcards which have come from the younger generation of India, but from abroad also. 75 postcards from Croatia, a friendly country of India, certainly. They have sent 75 cards to the people of India and congratulated them on the Amrit Mahotsav. Now, this is something which touches every Indian's heart, that how the reach of Man Ki Baat and the Prime Minister's message during the Amrit Mahotsav has been reaching out. And these are the people who are not the Indian diaspora. Because the diaspora, of course, is always involved and engaged with the Prime Minister in the Man Ki Baat. But the people who are not Indian origin also, they have been participating in this kind of letter writing and interaction with the Prime Minister of India.
Sir, you were talking about postcards that were sent to the Prime Ministers from many people. I mean, 1 crore postcards from children alone across the country. And one such postcard of Navya Verma of Prayagraj in Uttar Pradesh was read by Prime Minister himself. And he said that Navya has written that her dream for 2047 is of an India where everyone has a dignified life, where farmers are prosperous and there is no corruption. I mean, she raised the issue of corruption, to which Prime Minister responded also. How do you see Prime Minister's response to Navya's query of corruption, and why after 7 decades of our independence, corruption is still a main issue?
this Prime Minister and his regime has been adopting the policy of zero tolerance against corruption. And that is one of the reasons why this government, which is now more than 7.5 years in power, there has not been a single charge of corruption against this government. And that is one reason why Prime Minister specifically read out this postcard in which our younger generation, how concerned they are about the issue of corruption. And that was one reason why Prime Minister specifically mentioned, because he can hold his head high on this issue. And
Right.
we all know what has been happening in the past, scandals and scandals. So he very proudly mentioned.
For the benefit of our audience, I would like to read out Prime Minister's response to this query. He said it is very important that we give priority to our duties. Where duty is felt, duty is paramount. Corruption cannot even think of entering there. I feel that he has given a larger message to this assertion. No, sir.
I think another significant aspect of today's Man Ki Baat was the education. India
That's right.
has been the sacred land of education and knowledge. And this also he never misses in highlighting the issue. As he said that we have not confined our education to bookish knowledge only, but we have
That's right.
seen it as a holistic experience of life. Then he mentioned all the great sons and daughters of India who have been pioneered in promoting education. And those great personalities which he mentioned included Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya, who founded Banaras Hindu University. Mahatma Gandhi played an important role in the establishment of the Gujarat Vidyapeeth. And there is a very lovely place in Anand, Gujarat, the Vatalbhai Vallabh Vidyanagar, on the insisting of Sardar Patel, two of his associates, Bhai Kaka and Bhika Bhai. Then he goes on to Guru Rabindranath Tagore, who established Shantiniketan in West Bengal, Maharaja Gaikwad, an ardent supporter of education. So many educational institutions were built by him, Dr. Ambedkar, Shri Aurobindo, and then he specifically mentioned Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh Ji. He handed over his house for the establishment of a technical school, and he gave a lot of financial help for the construction of education centers in Aligarh and Mathura. And he recalled that sometime back, the Prime Minister said he had the privilege of laying the foundation stone of a university in his name in Aligarh.
So look at the diversity of topics that are covered by Prime Minister in his talks, be it death of that collar wali tigress in Madhya Pradesh, the issue of one-horn rhino, and you also mentioned that 75 postcards that came all the way from Croatia on Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. And Prime Minister also mentioned one Hastinapur Foundation in Argentina that is working for the propagation of Indian Vedic tradition there. I mean, many foreign countries are doing appreciable job in popularizing Indian culture.
Love for nature and compassion for every living being. This is our culture.
Right.
And that is why a glimpse of these sanskar of ours was seen recently when a tigress left the world. Then he in fact devoted quite a lot of time on this particular tigress. And then
Yes.
he also mentioned that a similar sight this time at the Republic Day was in the parade. President's bodyguard's charger mount, that is horse, Virat,
Yes, Virat.
took part in his last parade that now he has retired. Then he also mentioned about the rhino in Assam and devoted a considerable time on this single-horned rhino in Assam, how deeply it is part of the Assami culture. Lush green surroundings of the Kaziranga, the abode of elephant and tiger. All these things were part of Indian cultures or Indian ethos, love for nature and also protection of the animal rights.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on Prime Minister's Man Ki Baat. The participants were Ashok Tandon, political analyst, and Ashwini Srivastav, journalist. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on our mobile app News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsdtalks@gmail.com.